Hey everybody, this is Billy at Be Tough Magazine. I'm out here with my sidekick Shelby. That's right, she's a 5-year-old Siberian Husky, and I'm with my other sidekick here, Sammy Joe. She's a 4-year-old little girl. Good friends. You guys good friends, right?
Yeah.
Good friends. And I want to talk about Huskies today because I know a lot of people love these dogs. I love these dogs, but they've got a lot of good things about them, man, and they've also got things that are quite problematic. And I want to get into that.
A kiss.
Right, they love to get kisses, but we're going to talk about that today. And hopefully this will help you if you are thinking about getting a Husky and maybe make the logical solution here, or logical choice. So first off, Huskies, everybody knows that they come from areas that are cold and they do lots of work, right? They're meant to pull sleds. I mean, that's what's in their DNA. They love it, man. They are workhorses when it comes to that kind of stuff. They actually store energy in their body that needs to be burned off, and that's why they need lots of areas. We have I wouldn't say a huge backyard. It doesn't look very nice right now, but it's enough where she can get out here and do some running and playing around. And also these dogs require a lot of attention. I mean, these dogs like to be taken for walks, and it's really good to take these dogs for a walk, because if you do not, they start getting more mischievous, and we'll talk about that. Now, as I mentioned before, I don't know if I mentioned to you, but we had 2 Huskies before this one, 2 females. Now, can you sit, Shelby? Can you sit? Yeah? Yeah, that's a good girl. Now, when we had 2 Huskies, it was quite problematic. We had 2 females. The problem was that these dogs live on a hierarchy system. I mean, that's in their DNA, man. There's an alpha male, and there's a beta, So to be that top spot, a lot of times they will fight for that top spot. I mean, and we hated it. I hated we would try to make it not happen. But the reality is that between these dogs that we had, these 2 Huskies, one of them had to be the top dog. And so every once in a while they'd get into these pretty drawn out, brawls. And it was like watching Wild Kingdom, and we'd have to get in there and help them. And so that is not something I would ever do again. So if you are ever going to get a Husky, make sure that they are not 2 females, and that probably goes with a lot of breeds, not just Huskies, but specifically with Huskies, man, you really have to be careful with that. Now I know there's probably people out there that say they have 2 females, but I'm just saying that it is very important to know what you're getting into when you decide to get 2 of the same sexes. All right, so let's talk about their mischievous. These dogs, as much as I love Shelby, she has a split personality. That's right, Shelby's a very loving dog and she loves everybody here, but she also has another part of her that when she gets bored, she will try to get herself into trouble sometimes. And that means digging under fences sometimes, or taking the trash cans down, or doing things she's not supposed to, right? That's right. Can you sit down?
Go away. Go away.
Right. And we're going to get into that. That's one of the other things, is that she loves to get away, right? You can never really trust a Husky, and I'm talking in general. There's exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, most Huskies you cannot trust off a leash. And that, it's not like a dog. You can open the front door and the dog runs around the front yard with you and plays ball and all that stuff. If we open the front door, Shelby takes off down the street and she's not coming back. She shuts off her earring and we got to go get her and round her up. And it can be a dangerous situation if you live by main roads, right?
Yeah.
We don't like when she runs away, right?
No.
Right. So that is one thing about Huskies that you have to understand, is that this is not a dog that you can take outside and run with you without being on a leash. They'll be gone. And a lot, probably one of the most, I would imagine that the Husky breed is one of the most, I would say that they run away more than just about any other dog. These dogs are all over the pounds they're notorious escape artists, right? So understand that when you get in, that this is not a dog. These dogs are very headstrong, okay? They're escape artists in themselves. Where they're from, they come from areas that have snow and sleet, and they can get themselves into bad positions that they have to figure out how to get out of, right? Well, that's why, these dogs are so good. They're escape artists, man. I've had dogs that I've tied up to, we tied up to a tree while I was doing some work. I turned around and they figured out how to get out of it. I've done everything from build super enclosures around our backyard, and they figured out how to go under it or over it. I mean, they just figure that kind of. Can you sit, Shelby? Can you sit down? You can sit down? Oh, that's a good girl, Shelby. I'll give you a treat for that. Yeah, so there are escape artists. Your backyards definitely have to be really locked down. Any kind of hole underneath the fence or something, you can expect these dogs right here to try to take advantage of that. One thing too, they are diggers. They love to lay in the cold ground. Shelby at times, when it's hot out, especially if it's hot, she'll go find somewhere in the lawn to go dig a hole to bury herself into the ground, right? So if you hate having holes in your backyard, which a lot of people do, think twice about getting a Husky, because, you know, there are times, like, she hasn't done it in quite a while, but there was a long time where she was doing it quite a bit, right? So that is part of their nature. I mean, it's hot, man. I mean, even when it's like 75 degrees out, 80 degrees, they're wearing a thick coat here, and they're trying to figure out a way to cool off. You know what I mean? In fact, you know, when it's, our dog loves to be outside when it gets down into the 30s, man. And I mean, it'll be inside, it starts panting, and when we put her outside, she loves it, man, when it's in the 40s or something. So that's something to think about with these dogs. A second thing is, these dogs need to be combed out quite a bit. Got more treats? All right, well, she's gonna like that. These dogs need to be combed out quite a bit, right? You can expect to have a lot of fur all over your clothes all the time.
Yeah, ground.
On the ground, on your clothes, on
a toy.
on everything you own will have dog fur on it. Even when you comb it out quite a bit, they just, I mean, for some reason, these dogs shed.
I'll wash it.
Yeah. So these dogs actually shed quite a bit. So don't, if you're someone that has OCD and you don't like to have dog fur on you, or you don't like to have, you know, forget about it, because you're gonna have it. The one thing I like about Huskies, though, is they don't really smell. I don't know what it is, but they don't have a dog smell to them, and that's kind of a nice thing, man. Even, you know, there's a lot of dogs that like have, like, I don't know, you can smell a dog sometimes, and these ones don't. A nice thing about these dogs too is they don't really bark like a lot, at least the ones that I have. They do bark every once in a while, but they're not crazy barkers. They do howl, and that's kind of a cute thing because it feels like they're talking to you. And can you sit, Shelby?
Sit.
Can you sit?
Sit.
That's right. And so, like, these dogs, they'll howl at you, and
Angry.
yeah, well, they talk to you, right? And so they can do that. They will, there you go. They will bark at, you know, if they don't know what's going on. Every once in a while they will bark, but I will tell you this. These dogs are if you're thinking about having a dog that would protect you, this is the wrong dog, because if I was in trouble, this dog right here would go run underneath the bed and hide. That's what she would do. That's what Shelby would do, right?
Yeah.
They're just not good protectors. If that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for a guard dog or you're looking for something, these really aren't the dogs to do it. Another thing too I want to talk about is, here we go, Shelby. One thing I want to talk to you about too is that these dogs, they see varmints, that means cats, possums, skunks, squirrels, everything in the same light, right? Now, there are people that have Huskies with cats and they get along, but I know right now if there's a cat that jumped on that fence that Shelby would go bonkers, right? And that is because they don't distinguish the difference between the two, you know, kittens, all that stuff. And once a Husky has killed something, unfortunately, it changes their perception on stuff. You know, luckily, Shelby has never, you know, gotten to something or killed anything, so we've been lucky with her. But our last two, we've had a couple cats jump in our backyard, and unfortunately, they got a hold of them, and they were really never the same since. Like, after that, they always wanted to go out, and they wanted to do bad things sometimes. So we've been lucky with Shelby to kind of be able to control that. And so just know that, you know, if you're someone that's going to have, you know, cats and that stuff around, definitely be careful. You would never, this is the biggest stress before I let you guys go that I want to talk about, is that I would never, ever trust a Husky around a newborn or a baby. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. I love Shelby with all my heart, right? And I believe that she'd probably be okay, but probably be okay isn't good enough, right? The last thing you would want her to think is that that baby in the crib is a varmint, right? That would be a very bad situation, and these dogs have in the past, you know, killed babies, infants, unfortunately. So definitely be aware of that. Be aware of what goes into getting these and the care that it's going to take before you decide to pull the trigger on a Husky. Other than that, they're very lovable dogs, and she's really a funny dog. She does funny things. She loves to run around. She likes to jump up and down. She's not the best at playing catch. She'll go after the ball, but she'll rarely bring it back. But she loves to swim. We got a pool here. It's kind of dirty right now, right? Yeah, but she loves to swim in the summertime by herself even. And some Huskies don't. Our last two Huskies hated water. They hated it with a passion. They wouldn't go near the pool. Shelby here loves the pool, so I guess it can go either way. But anyway, that's Huskies for you. This is Shelby, and I hope that Shelby was able to help you get a little educated on the Siberian Huskies. Anyway, thanks for joining us. This is Billy at Be Tough Magazine.